Lisa Nichols is a celebrated motivational speaker who has inspired millions through her seminars, as well as her featured role in the movie The Secret. She went from being a broke single mom on public assistance to becoming a millionaire entrepreneur and author of 6 books. And today we're going to look at my take on her top 10 rules of success. Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men all my life. Like na 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 na. For my top 10, top 10, na 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 na. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Lisa Nichols, and my take on her top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Be aware of your money blueprint.
I have this program where I look at your money blueprint, and I help you look at your money blueprint, and I ask you questions. How was money in your household? Was it the source of argument, the source of contention and divisiveness? Because if so, you don't want money to divide you and your family. So you might not want to have money around, or you want too much because you don't want to be divided.
You don't want to be judged,
right?
Or whatever.
Or did it keep your parents away? Mm-hmm. Like, what was your relationship to money as a child? Because that's fueling you. That has an unconscious influence over you now.
A filter of how you see everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you want to bring from the unconscious to the conscious. You might not be listening to it, but you definitely don't want it to have any unconscious power over you. So that's number 1. Be aware of your money blueprint. How is money related to in your community? How is it related to in your house? What did you think about money? How is your faith attached to it? I used to think that literally in order to be like Sister Brown, who was like the most godly woman in my church when I was a teenager, she was amazing. But we also had fundraisers for Sister Brown. That I could not have $1 million in my bank account and be Sister Brown.
Yeah.
So I had to it took me years to do that.
Rule number 2, have bite-sized goals.
Setting quarterly goals to recognize that goals that are going to be hit are goals that are bite-sized, digestible, and palatable. And you can measure them every 90 days. We together discovered that 90-day goals allows us to get to annual goals and 2-year goals and 5-year goals. But 90-day goals allows you to have bite-sized, palatable, digestible goals that could be measured and or adjusted every 90 days.
Rule number 3, be the best version of yourself.
Oh my God, I love this question. I don't think I've ever been asked this question before. I never had an opportunity to explain it. Being the best version of you. First of all, don't think of it holistic. I want you to break it down to different parts of your life. Because when you are committed to being the best version of you, which in summary, it's the you that you're so incredibly proud of holistically. It's a 360 approach. It says, I'm not perfect. So best does not mean the perfect version of you. Because I think perfection and balance are 2 illusions that are designed to help you keep chasing something that's not even attainable. So perfect is not attainable and balance is not attainable. So it's perfectly managing my imperfection and releasing balance and having harmony, number 1. But the best version of you is really saying that in each area of my life, I'm in movement. In each area of my life, I'm in evolution. In each area of my life, I'm active. I am actively participating in an upwardly mobile way in this area of my life, times every area of my life. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're always where you want to be, but it does mean that you're being responsible, you're being active, and you're being proactive. Finances, that you're looking at your numbers. Just this morning, I ran my credit score again. I want to see what's on it. I want to be actively participating in my financial growth. I looked at my savings. I looked at my life insurance. I just looked at my long-term plan. Not necessarily because I want to buy another house or I want to buy a car. I just want to be on top of it. I want to be responsible for it. And then health and wellness. Just yesterday, I was talking to Matt and going, Matt, it's time for us to do another health and wellness campaign. I don't necessarily want to do it. And it slightly to moderately scares me a bit when I'm bringing my fitness into a public conversation. But I know the responsible me, the best version of Lisa, is saying, hold me accountable. Hold me accountable to my fitness goals. Hold me accountable to my total wellness goals. And then last week, I was just sitting with someone saying, you know what? I need to go down the list of all the checkups that I've had. I need to make sure I'm not missing anything. Relationships. I just said to a girlfriend yesterday, hold me accountable. Hold me accountable to not running. I realize that I run well and I run smoothly. I run like a gazelle sometimes when it comes to relationships. It doesn't even look like I'm running because I'm so busy. So I asked someone who knows me, who knows the love that I want, who knows my sexy excuses. I need you to hold me accountable. When I say this, I want you to question it. And so while there's so much growth in every area of my life, I'm being the best version that I know to be because I'm active in every single area. I'm not saying I'm being the best or I am the best. Please don't get me wrong with that. I'm just saying to be the best version of myself. So when you look at being the best version of yourself, look at each part of your life and go, what am I actively doing? Where you feel like I'm in the game in this area. I'm not resigned and I'm not praying for it to go right. Or I'm not in resignation and in complaint about it. I'm not a victim to that relationship. I'm not a victim to my finances. I'm not a victim to the relationships in my family. I'm an active part of creating what's occurring. And it can always get better, but I'm an active part. That's being the best version of you. And waking up each morning and saying, I like me today. I got many things I can work on, but I like me today. Before you ever go out on Facebook or any other social media platform to check to see if anyone else like you, your job is to like you first. And every other like is bonus. That's stepping into the best version of you. Setting long-term goals that make your knees knock a little bit and make your teeth chatter a little bit. Those goals that you don't know exactly how you're going to get it done, but it's something that you want to get done. It stretches you, but it doesn't stress you. Your goals are supposed to stretch you, not stress you. Those things, that combination. And when you live in that capacity and you focus and you operate in that one, that's when you're living and being the best version of you.
Rule number 4, don't be a yes person.
I'm only telling you the lesson that I had to learn, that we train people how to treat us. In 2007, when I was on the Oprah Show, it was the thing that came up and out of me. And she was like, yes. It was that thing that said, we train people how to treat us. Like they're looking at what we're saying yes to and what we're co-signing on. And if we're the yes woman or the yes man all the time, then one, our yes isn't as valuable because everyone automatically expects it because we give it away all the time. And two, they're going to keep asking because they know they're going to get yes. And if you're a producer and deliverer, you're the one I'm going to come to all the time because you're a producer and deliverer. You're going to get the job done, even to the detriment of your own joy. Even to the detriment of your own happiness. But again, you train people how to treat you. But the good news about training someone is that they can be retrained.
Also, if you want to have more confidence and motivation, check out my 254 series. They're free. The links to join are in the description below.
We validate who we are by what we're doing for other people. So many times I get the question, how do I prevent failure? And I'd love for you to spend that same energy going, how could I ensure that I soar? Cognitive dissonance is when you have literally thought about a version of yourself that you're not currently living right now.
Rule number 5, know your worth.
Did you consciously sit down and say, I want to manifest inspiring millions of people, making millions of dollars? Was it a conscious thing? Were there moments where you sat there when you weren't living in that reality, where you said, you know what, I'm going to decide, I'm going to figure it out. I might not know how, I might not know where or what, but I'm going to commit to it and make it a reality. I mean, talk to me at the core of your experience.
Right. So I love how you say make millions of dollars. I said I want to inspire people and I want to be able to pay my bills. That was initially.
That was a big dream.
I want to run out a month before I run out of money. Big. I want to have enough
Like you can't think about having abundance until you literally give yourself permission to have enough.
Yeah, get past scarcity. To begin with.
So I want to have enough to dream. And so my first, I think I have a ministry mindset. I just want to help people. I want to help people and I want to be rewarded for my efforts, right? And then once I got past that, I said, okay, I want more. I want to generate millions. I want to serve millions, inspire millions, and generate millions. I think I deserve all of that. But that had to do with my self-worth.
Right.
I had to feel worthy to touch millions. And I had to feel worthy to touch millions. I had to feel worthy of both. And so that was personal development, which is why I live and I stay in personal development. I teach personal development. I teach wealth development. I teach business development, and I teach personal development.
I love
because
that.
You have to have both.
Rule number 6, practice active self-care.
Practice active. Yes, I'm going to say it again. Underline, circle active. Practice active self-care. That's where you identified what rejuvenates you and made plans to make time for self-care during the busy season. So you made a list of what you know rejuvenates your soul, your mind, your body, your spirit, from walking on the beach to reading a book to taking downtime, free things and retreats or a spa, whatever it is that rejuvenates your soul, to make a list of it. And then to make plans, active self-care, to do those things during your busy season.
Rule number 7, choose the high road.
If you find that the relationships around you have toxic outcomes, then I want you to look at where's the breakdown. Is the breakdown in communication? Is the breakdown in how you communicate, the words you're using? Is the breakdown in who you choose to be around? Is the breakdown in the engagement of what you're talking about? What I've learned is that if you're not talking about things that are high enough and big enough, things that are inspiring enough, you will slip into the smallness every single time. If you don't choose an intentionally high, evolving, encouraging conversation, you will slip into the cracks. You will slip into those crevices of smallness and petty. And until you get people trained that you're going to live up here without telling them, I need you to know, it's not an announcement. It's a way of being. It's a what do you choose to participate in. It's a stepping over your desire to hear smallness, gossip, negative feedback. It's when someone is engaging in negative feedback about someone else, the fact that you didn't add anything to the conversation doesn't let you off the hook. Did you stop the conversation? Did you say, hold on, I don't want to engage in speaking negatively of them at all. Why don't you have a conversation with them? It's course correcting behaviors in your space at the risk of losing the relationship. But what you basically do is you say, here's where I play. Here is where I live. I'm not visiting this high road of integrity. I'm not visiting this high road of conscious thinking and awareness and respect and humility and honoring the dignity in people. I don't visit this place. I live here. I don't visit this place. I live here. And in a loving way, anyone that's engaging with you has two choices. They either engage with you here or they choose to engage with someone else. Now, if you find that you're going down to be in the relationship, or you're going down and you're the person taking the relationship down because you're in a moment of anger, or you're in a moment of resentment, or you're in a moment of hurt, then you're not living in your highest integrity. You just visit every now and again when you come to this channel. Uh-oh, I see my Shantae coming out right now. Shantae is my middle name. It's what I do when I start getting real edgy because I really want you to get it. So you need to make a decision on where you choose to reside. And then you don't leave your conscious neighborhood to go visit other people's neighborhood if it's not as high as yours. People will rise to the occasion, or they'll choose not to rise, and they'll pick other people to be with and hang with. And I know that sounds easier said than done, because some of the people who are playing at a lower level might be in family. It might be, and that's fine too. You can love people. It doesn't mean you have to spend tons and tons and tons of time if that time costs you something. Spend as much time as you can. Spend as much time as serves you. Spend as much time as they will allow you to spend. But never leave this place. Even if being with them causes you to allow them to be where they are, you don't have to engage in that. So the bottom line and supporting you to either recognize, are you the toxic element, or are you surrounding yourself in toxic element, is to make a commitment where you live. Where am I living? And first own where you're currently living. Because if you own it, you might go, you know what, I do slip into that small place. Okay, own it. That's conscious awareness. That's powerful. Own it. And then go, where do I want to be? And then what's the distance between here and there? And what do I have to do to get there? What do I have to say no to? What do I have to participate in? What do I have to ask forgiveness for? What do I have to clean up? What relationships require cleaning up? And then what declarations must I make? And what decisions must I live in? Don't make a decision, live in your decision.
Rule number 8, be your own rescue.
So when you look at being your own rescue, what does that look like? Being your own rescue comes from so many different areas. I've always taught that we need to separate our life into categories and manage your whole life in categories. The health and wellness category. What does being your own rescue look like in health and wellness? For me, it was pretty radical. For me, it was all the way from not only getting more physically fit, but it was going to the doctor and asking for medical help. It was saying something's happening in my body and I don't know what. It was no longer ignoring what was happening. What does being your own rescue look like in your finances? For me, it was me writing myself a check the way I wrote SD&G and the way I wrote the electricity bill and the way I wrote my rent check way back 20 years ago. It was me writing a check to my dream and putting in the subject line, funding my dream. That was being my own rescue as well. What does being your own rescue look like in a relationship? Does it look like just speaking up and asking for what you need? Or does it look like telling someone, I love you more often? Or thank you more often? Or please accept my apology for not showing up for you. What does being your own rescue look like in the different categories? And then what does action look like to be that rescue? Because when you can be your own rescue, you actually are your own superhero. You actually are your own best friend. You actually become everything you need for you. And then you can serve everyone else from your overflow. I love it.
Rule number 9, be a good steward of money.
If you don't treat money right and you're not responsible with money, you will repel money because you're not a good steward of it. And so until I became a better steward of money, and I'm still growing in that area, and money and I would keep giving it away until it was all gone because my mindset said it all had to be gone. There's never going to be extra.
Yeah.
My grandmother would make 10 dimes go in 20 different directions. Who was I to have 20 dimes and only 10 directions needed?
Yes.
Right? Again, mindset.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is honor other people's belief systems.
I love to go back and share some of my favorite memories with you, my fondest. And what I realized, they're actually my most moving memories. One happened over 12 years ago. I was in Toronto, Canada with Margaret. And this gentleman walked up to me, standing about 6'2", Caucasian man in his mid-40s. And he looked at me and he goes, Lisa, I have a problem with you. I said, you do? And my heart started to beat. I'm like, oh my God, someone doesn't like me. What did I say wrong in their eyes? And how is this gonna play out? And he goes, I have a problem. I really have a problem. And I said, okay, how can I help you? He said, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. I'm fine not believing in God. I'm comfortable. I prefer not to believe in God. I don't believe that there's a God. And I said, okay, what's your problem? He said, my problem is I love you. I love everything about you. I love the energy you come with. I love the way you speak. I love what I feel when I'm listening to you talk. He said, and you keep referring to this God as your source. And I don't believe in God. So that's my problem. And I said, sir, I'm sorry. I'm not sure where your problem lies. I said, if you don't believe in God, you have that right. If you love me, I'm excited because you can feel that I love you too. And he looked at me and he goes, so let me get this straight. This is not the part where you try to convert me or try to tell me how wrong I am, or you try to explain to me about your God so that I can begin to believe like you believe. This is not that part. You're not going to do that? And I looked up at him. I said, why would I do that? You're committed to whatever you believe in. My job is to honor your belief system. And he goes, see, you're doing that thing again that's making me love you more. That's my problem. But I know you believe in God. I said, that's not a problem. Why don't you keep believing in me and loving me? I'll keep believing in God and loving God, and we'll keep having this great experience. After I said that, he just grabbed me and he hugged me and he held me. And I knew somehow he was holding on to possibility. That's what I choose to tell myself. He was holding on to the love that he could feel from me, the palatable, non-judgmental, non-persecuting love. And in that moment, I couldn't feel more joy. As I held that man, I couldn't feel more joy. I couldn't feel more happiness, that this is what ministry is about. This is what touching souls is about, is to love the person who thinks that you might not love them because their belief system. It was just so beautiful. The moment was so beautiful. I mean, he held me. And then he drew back and looked at me. And he said, you're the real deal. And I looked up at him and I said, so are you. And we said our goodbyes. I never saw him again. Margaret and I went up to the room, our hotel room, that night, and replaying what happened, we both just started to bawl, just cry. And I said to Margaret, this is marketplace ministry disguised as a business. I'm not in the converting business. I don't need to convert anybody. You're exactly where you choose to be. But I am in the loving business. My job is to love you where you are. And that beautiful gentleman, that day, he reminded me and Margaret, I believe, what unconditional love could feel like.
Now I've got a special bonus gift from Lisa on how to understand the dynamics of relationships that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, whose belief system do you need to honor in your life? Let me know, put it down in the comments below. And if you're still here watching and you promise, you commit, let's go Believe Nation. We don't just watch videos here, we do something about it. If you are gonna commit to taking action today, give me a hashtag Believe in the comments below. I want to celebrate you.
In relationships, live parked between fluid and flexible. That's where I park. Every day I pull up and I park between fluid and flexible, because some days I have to expand to give the relationship more, and other days it requires me to contract so that I can hold the energy that I need for me. So relationships are designed to be a dynamic exchange. That's the baseline of a relationship. It's a dynamic exchange. Now, the reality is that some of us are givers and some of us are receivers. And that's just true. It's just, I don't know if it's biological. I don't know if it's psychological. I don't know. You got to consult someone else for that. But I do know that there's some of us we're happy in our giving mode. And it's actually a little awkward to receive. And then there's others, and we like to call them takers, but they're not takers. They're receivers. Because a receiver doesn't have to take. Because if a receiver gets with the giver, all you got to do is be present and available to receive. So I don't like to call it takers, because then it makes it malicious for them. And that's not the case. Now, there are people who are users. That's very different. I think the dynamic of relationships are there's receivers and there's givers. And what I found was that givers, I'm a giver, we actually feel more comfortable with the receiver. And then we get upset because they don't give to us. Like, cray cray. We actually seek out, and I say we seek out receivers. We love our givers in our space, but that almost pushes our buttons a bit, because then we have to learn how to receive when we're with another giver.
If you want 10 more amazing rules from Lisa Nichols, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
If someone crosses your line in the sand, it's because you never made your line deep enough. No one can ever go further with you than you've given them permission to go.